Okay, guys, this is going to be my review for the movie The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element's, I think an interesting watch for me. I think mainly because, I think this film was ripe for a remake. To be honest, I think this film was ripe for a remake. And I tell you what, here's my credentials for a remake. Number one, great source material to remake it. See, that's the thing. Don't remake a bad film when the story's bad, because what are you gonna get from let me think of a bad film that I don't like. Don't remake Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, because you're not gonna get anything good from it because it's a bad movie to start. So the key to remakes are remake stuff that has a good story, because that's number one. Don't remake something that has a bad story, because then what are you gonna change to make the story better? So don't remake stuff with a bad story. That's number one. But then number two, can a remake in our era benefit the story? And I think with The Fifth Element it would, because my big problem is that the visual effects don't necessarily fully stand up or stand up to today's effects. I think that's so. That's no fault to this film. It's just a fault to growing of technology and the changing of technology. And I think that's the key. Is because technology and CGI and visual effects has changed and evolved so much. I think this film and the story is great too. That with a great story and with the new visual effects, I think there are stuff you can improve, like better visual effects, because this film is very visual effects heavy when you're in the chase sequences or when you're on the ships. You're like, yeah, I think if you made this today, I'm not saying if they made a remake it would do better, because 9 times out of 10 remakes are not better than the original. But if you were to make a remake, just maybe it would improve upon some of the problems. But I guess the biggest problem is that some of the visual effects don't hold up. It's a very classic story about an everyday guy, and I mean Bruce Willis, to be honest, plays the same character in every film. He plays kind of like the good guy, but at the heart of it, he's not the nicest guy. He's like a okay, I just watched 12 Monkeys, and I've obviously Die Hard, and I've obviously seen all these Glass and Unbreakable. He plays every single one of these films. He plays kind of the guy who's like he's kind of like the good guy, the protagonist, but he's not like the hero like jolly old Batman or Luke Skywalker or Samwise Gamgee. He's not like that good guy. He's like the Han Solo archetype, where he's kind of rough around the edges, but he's still good. So he plays the same character in every movie. Like if you said this was a futuristic Die Hard with John McClane, I would believe you. If you said that the guy in Unbreakable was what happens if John McClane gets powers, I would believe you. And I think that's kind of the truth. It's like he kind of, and if you told me that the guy from 12 Monkeys he played was John McClane, I would believe you. And that's kind of the funny thing is he kind of plays a similar archetype in every single one of his movies. I've yet to see a movie of his that doesn't play the same role. Like, I would like to see him as like a villain or like a supporting character. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, but I still don't get me wrong. I still like the movie. I think the story's interesting, and I think the characters are interesting. But I think it held back from it being the effects being a bit outdated. But hey, I still had fun with the story and the characters. Yeah, and I think the idea of the Fifth Element story is something that it would be interesting to see in a newer light. But anyway, stay tuned for videos coming right at you.